Hello, I'm your host, Giselle Gamby, and this is the Intuitive Pool podcast. First of all, I want to say thank you to the community of listeners because there have been breathtaking ripples that have occurred from listening to this podcast, and I'm excited to be witness of many, many more. This year, I'm dedicating this podcast to the theme of 2023 being a breakthrough year. No matter how successful, fulfilled, and happy we are, and the truth is that sometimes we're not, we all have thresholds we've placed on ourselves on how loving and powerful we've allowed ourselves to be. Following the intuitive pull does not negate our vulnerabilities and our humanness. Oftentimes, following the intuitive pull asks us to see our blind spots and to bring what has been in the shadow to light. And when we do, we can see that being fully human is in fact the precursor to remembering that we are infinitely greater than this mortal body, that we are infinitely connected beyond this time and space, not in spite of our humanity, but because of the intricate weaving of all aspects of our precious humanity. When we take responsibility and remember that you have the power to decide what you choose, and we fuse that with a letting go of control and surrendering into the plans that you didn't make, there is nothing that you cannot transform. My wish is that you see that the deeper you go, the greater your wealth in all ways, and that authenticity is always profitable. Have fun! Hello, beautiful, precious, intuitive pool community. I am back from Kenya. I've been back since Thursday midnight. It's now Tuesday following that. Kenya was extraordinary. It really was. I know each time I go on retreat, I say, this was the best retreat ever. And this really was the best retreat ever. I have a feeling, or a knowing I should say, that it's because we actually did so much pre-work before heading to Kenya. So there was a lot of cleaning house that occurred prior, which meant that when we were on the African plains, we had the space to listen to what creation had in store for us rather than major focus being on cleaning up our stories, because really that is what happened prior to Kenya. And now that I've had that experience, I said to Michelle, my co-facilitator, my darling sister, I said, this is the new standard really going forward, to which she agreed that all the work, the cleaning up work, very much the majority of the cleaning up work, because of course there was some cleaning up that happened whilst we're in Kenya, but the majority of the cleaning up work happens before we leave, so that we are in the arms of creation. And what a joy that is to be in that. We also had a little unexpected accident with my mum, who was with us. She had the time of her life, and then 2 days before leaving for back home, we were having drinks at Michelle's place in Kilifi, and she didn't see the step that she'd walked over many times before, and she fell on some very hard stone floor. So we ended up in a Kenyan hospital, which was quite an experience. Mum dislocated her shoulder, and Mum and I were blessed with radically generous support. In fact, I don't think I've ever experienced such generous support from Michelle, from Renee, and from Beck. Mum's entourage. Thank you for everything you did for us that night. You absolutely took control. You were absolutely in charge, and that allowed me to be with Mum. And yeah, we were in very safe hands. So thank you for that. And I also want to say thank you to the Kenya crew, because the following night we were home. It was our last night. It was our grand finale night, or our grand finale day, which we did some beautiful, beautiful work. But Mum was so unwell, as my feeling is she reacted to the meds that had her fall asleep and forget the procedure. And she was just so ill and in an incredible amount of pain. And I have never experienced such a letting go of control, of awkwardness, of the mind. As our Kenya crew sat in a circle, we invited the singer. We invited beautiful Morris, who was with us for yoga and massage, and we held hands and we sang and we prayed, and Michelle spoke out light language, ancient sound, all with the intent that Mama G, my mum, would be well enough to travel the next day and to not be sick. And she wasn't. And really, it was quite a miracle because it was a huge trip home. And she slept. She slept all the way. We left home at 5:30 in the morning from Michelle's to fly to Nairobi. Then we had 6 hours in Nairobi at the airport. Then a 4.5-hour flight to Dubai. Then a 3.5-hour wait in Dubai. And then a 13-hour flight home. And Mum pretty much slept all the way through. So if there are any prayers from the listeners, Mum's currently in respite for 3 weeks, a minimum of 3 weeks, as she heals. And all that I can say is, if you have listened to previous episodes, and I think it was the episode called Allowing Your Soul to Come Undone, you'll know why I invited my mum to Kenya. My dad told me to bring Mum to Kenya. Dad passed 12 years ago. And from my experience, I don't think that Mum has experienced the amount of love that she did on this trip since my dad passed. And that is everything. So this episode is inspired by my experience in Kenya, outside of the mum experience, or perhaps even including, that would be more honest. And it's like a mashup of different pieces and progressions during the retreat. We were so fortunate to be in receipt of what I'm now calling the bomb. Breathwork sessions, not only by Michelle, but also by Troy Methorst and his wife, Beck Methorst. You would have heard Troy's episode, Radical Compassion and Forgiveness. Troy was an ex-soldier in Afghanistan. He now runs Veteran Mentors, which is, oops, I had a little interruption there, a phone call from the hospital. I'm having knee surgery on Monday, so apologies. I had to press pause on record this piece here, which might be a little bit messy, not as seamless as I would like. So I think what I was up to was I was talking about breath work being the bomb. My goodness, breath work, and not just any breath work, but breath work held by incredible people who absolutely let go of control and surrender and really, really lead from their multidimensional nature. So breathwork session held by Michelle, my darling sister and co-facilitator, and breathwork session held by Troy Methorst and Beck Methorst, who took us to places of resistance within us to begin with. And then once that resistance had passed, took us into a consciousness that was like having a conversation with God. And the first session, or one of the first sessions that we had that I was graciously a participant of, I was really pulled to write as we opened our eyes. And then the second session that we had, which was on the last day of our retreat, I wasn't pulled to write at the time, but I was absolutely fed, and I wrote today. And so I would like to share a story of coming back home. So here is the piece of writing from one of the breathwork sessions and from today, following the final breathwork session on our last day of retreat. If you believe that riches are on the outside, that abundance is found in things out there, you've got it all wrong. If you believe that your freedom will come when you have accumulated that security on the outside, you've got it all wrong. If you believe that fame and fortune is based on others revering you, following you, you're chasing the wrong God. If you believe in the importance of controlling self, controlling your circumstances, controlling others, and controlling your external environment, you are not free. You are trapped, caged. If you believe that your responsibilities lie in the roles you believe you need to play to keep people and things in place and under control, you have not empowered them or yourself. You have only empowered control. If you are on the endless, never-ending and never-stopping treadmill of chasing more wealth, more numbers, more houses, you have forgotten your true home. If you make external strategy your God, you have enslaved yourself to a system that traps you in believing that you are not inherently abundant, but in lack, and will only become whole through that endless fucking strategy. And so I say again, if you believe that these riches are on the outside, that abundance is found in the things out there, not only have you got it all wrong, but you have chosen poverty, a poverty of being. There is nothing wrong with external riches and abundance. It's part of life's choices to experience such wealth and success. But if you think that this is the main game, you've got it all wrong. You've missed the point of why we are here. You've missed the true sweetness of life, and that is to experience what is indescribable in words. But I'll do my best and say that the truest wealth you could ever be blessed to experience is to be back home, nestled in what is only real, and that is love, and all else is illusion. And it is from this internal abundance, that is love and connection to self and to all that is beyond this time and space, that external abundance will unfold and not the other way around. At one with love is what is real. All else is the lie you've been sold. But even that's not wrong, because this is the path we must take in order to come back home. So that was the first piece of writing, or one of the first pieces of writing. And then the next piece is what I wrote today, following on from the last breathwork session in Kenya. I touched into a feeling in breathwork on the floors in Kenya. I didn't know what it was until I did. It was bliss. The bliss of being home. The bliss of knowing what really matters. I asked myself the question as I lay there on that floor. What would God see if God was looking through my eyes? The answer I received was that God would see the beauty of humanity. a humanity that had momentarily forgotten that we are whole, a humanity that had never truly left our source, but believed we did, and in doing so became lost for a little while until we remembered. If God were to see this passage of forgetting to remembering, God would smile the biggest smile. Imagine a humanity that created from an internal abundance within, from a state of wholeness and the goodness of being together. Imagine a humanity whose starting point was the decision to live from freedom, uncaged from stories that shackle us all. Imagine a humanity of untempered power and untethered love, in service to visions that are beyond ourselves and in service to us all. Imagine a humanity aware of the illusions and seductive voice of the ego wanting to keep us safe, that is willing to turn our backs on the grace and power of the divine within each and all of us. And having such awareness that we do not hand our attention over to this voice. Imagine a humanity that is devoted to the only thing that matters, and that is to experience the bliss that I felt on that floor in Kenya, the bliss of being home. It is from here that we commune. It is from here that we feel and lead and live and are guided from. Because everything is here when we are home. Nothing is missing, and yet everything is available. This knowing is true abundance, and from this internal abundance, all unfolds, all unfurls, all is born into form. How blessed are we to live and create from the inside out. How blessed are we to witness the God within reflected in our daily lives. How blessed are we to behold this ability to perceive ourselves and life this way. This is bliss. And this is what really matters. This. When we live from the outside in, we've got it all wrong. But when we live from the inside out, we are home. And this is bliss. Thank you, Kenya, for your raw and natural beauty, for the stark contrast of poverty and abundance, for the cycle of life and death that we saw in the Masai Mara. Thank you for the richness, the joy and the goodness of our togetherness. And thank you for the vastness and the freedom we found in the savannah. The African plains afford this vastness and freedom. Thank you for reminding us that the thing that matters the most, where our most powerful and joyful creative potential lies. Thank you for reminding us that the thing that matters the most, where our most powerful and joyful creative potential lies, is to come home and to live from the abundance within, from the inside out. So from seeing how we get it all wrong to knowing what really matters, this I saw acutely because Kenya gave me that perspective. And I pass this on to you. It feels like a prayer, actually, as I share it with you. May it open your heart. May it bring you awareness. May you see where you have given focus to an external God versus the internal abundance that is who you are. May you experience freedom where you have been caged. And if you still feel caged, may that awareness bring about a new decision to be free. I'm making a final call out for the Sacred Leadership Program, which is for people who are based in Australia, who have done the work already, who wish, above all else, to come home and to live and lead from this place of internal abundance. And who wish, not even wish, but are commanded and demanded, as I have been, to make this space in between ourselves and reality, this invisible space, this sacred space, as important as life itself. To make this invisible, multidimensional space where everything is available. To make this your devotion from which you lead from. We commence in Sydney on the 6th and the 7th of June. We come together every quarter for a year. If you are not in Australia and you are called into this space, talk to me about coaching. Thank you. Hey guys, if you love this podcast, I have 2 requests. Number 1, sign up to the newsletter, which you can find in the show notes. Sharing is one of my superpowers, and there is only so much that I can share through the medium of podcasting. And I have very big plans this year to be radically generous to you. So sign up to that newsletter where you will be able to receive a whole lot more that I trust will be super valuable to you. And number 2, I'm a massive referrer of the people I love to the people I love. Please share this episode or podcast with the people you love, and let's create some more breathtaking ripples of impact.